Right, are you going to say something first, Emma?
Yeah. I'm Emma Hoddinott, and I'm Labour's candidate for this ward for the local elections. I just want to say thank you very much for coming along. Most importantly, thank you very much for Anne for opening up the centre and supplying us all with tea and coffee. You've done a grand job this morning. And thank you for coming. I hope to talk to some of you, and I've talked to some already. I just want to say that I appreciate your support in a few weeks' time. I'm up against the sitting Tory councillor for this area, and he said that we haven't had the cuts that bad yet, and I don't believe him. I think we all know family and friends who are being affected by the cuts, whether it's having to put a bit more in your tank with the petrol, your weekly shop going up a bit more. Everybody's feeling the squeeze, and I'm sure John will mention the pasties, but George Osborne and this government are only looking after their own, and they'd rather take money off pensioners and give it to the millionaires, and that's not right, and that's why I'm Labour, and that's why I'm standing for this area, and I hope you'll be able to support me in a few weeks' time. I want to make us proud of the area that we live in, and proud to be Labour. So thank you very much. And I'll hand over to John. I'm really pleased that John Prescott is here today. If you didn't know, he did grow up in Rotherham, and I think today's been a bit of memory lane as people have been telling him about things and reminiscing about the past. But we're really delighted that you've come down to Sunnyside today. Really lovely to see you. And if you want to say a few words, that would be great.
I've come down here for this woman, right? She's a cracker, she's a campaigner, she's got what I call the traditional heart of Labour, you know what I mean? It is about communities because you live in the communities. You're seen as one of us, as they see it. Sometimes that's being lost in politics in a way that people aren't just quite identifying with those that are there to lead. But this one, she's worth it. Not only is the councillor, she'll go on further than that, no doubt about it. So, I can't say I'm travelling around doing everyone in the council election, but I wanted to come over for Emma because if you know Emma, I don't have to say more about it, so I wanted to do that. The other reason, of course, when anybody invites me to come to Rotherham, it always brings back these flood of memories of Rotherham. I only lived here till I was 11, and my father was a railwayman. He lost his leg at Dunkirk, so the railwayman gave him a job here back in '43. He was a councillor, I think he was councillor in that, it was a parish, wasn't it, round that Brinsworth then. And at that corner there was Canclo Pit, wasn't it? So there was a pit and the old railway sheds and everything, and we lived in one of those railway houses up in Ellis Street, where in fact your bath was, you know, it took about washes today, it was a copper thing, wasn't it? You know, you put the fire underneath to boil the water to do the washing on. But the kids used to get thrown in as well. I can always remember my big toe put the thing through the very thin copper of the sage. And suddenly we were talking about those days. They were happy days because everybody was the same. Poverty is different now, you know. Parents and mothers get really pressured for expensive things. I mean, the most we do is go around asking the kids we saw eating an apple. It was very good. Usually argue, can you give me the core when you finish, you know. And you think of those things. And Rotherham associates me with a very happy period associated with that time. I lived in Ellis Street, it's wonderful, and Mum and Dad used to take us, certainly my mum, used to take us to Sunshine Corner. Yeah. Now when you say these daft things, you look around at young people and say, well, they won't remember anything about that. But if I was to say about Sunshine Corner and Clifton Park, Clifton Park's still there, isn't it? And I think they spent quite a lot of money. That was part of our green phase. We spent 10 million in Hull, bringing the parks back so you could feel you could come in and enjoy it. And what I found in Holland, somebody said to me, it's the same in Clifton Park. A lot of people come from a lot of areas outside to enjoy that green facility, the lungs of the city. So Clifton Park, Sunshine Corner, it reminds me all of that. So coming back here is about that. I went to a school in Brinsworth. Of course, that's where I failed my 11 plus, and its story went on from there at the Brinsworth School. And so this has a special mention. I always remember, though, basically, my father sending me down to order the Daily Herald in Chester, because he then moved on to Chester. He used to work at Masborough Station. I don't think that's it there now, is it? And Masborough Station used to be near what they call the new baths, wasn't it? Or the market baths, was it? And then they built another one, which must be about 40 years old now, became known as the new baths. And I don't know what happened since then. But that was part of life, part of that. And I always go back to that and think about it. And indeed, where Canclow Pit was, I managed to bring in what they call one of the New Deal areas, 39 worst poverty, unemployment, education facilities. And there's one just by Canclow. I can't remember what the name is, but I went back recently. So that's the things you do in government. Somebody just mentioned about promises, and I couldn't help but then say, well, I always carry around my card to remind us what we did do. And you won't need to worry about what they did do, because the way these people are dismantling everything, we fought an election that said get people back to work. 2 million more people got jobs. Yes, they were in the public sector. Doctors, teachers, nurses. They call them state jobs. And because it's not, they're saying almost that stacking blooming stores in Morrison's or whatever is more important than somebody who's a teacher or a doctor. It's just absolute nonsense, right? And we had to do that. We've put more money into education and schools. I'm not going to go through all that litany of things, but I'm always proud to pull out and say, look, we promised that in 1997. Don't look at the pictures a few years ago. And that was what we promised then, right? And we delivered. And that's what politicians have got to do. Get back in. That's where we've got to go again. So I'm delighted to be here. That's the values this last stands for, right, Emma? I think it's exactly what the Labour Party stands for, right? So I don't want to get in strongly into the Labour Party of it, but you do have to vote sometimes, and the voting is now coming up for the council, and it's voting for a set of values and people who believe in them. And if you think people get divorced from values, yes, there's values in this government. Look what it did on the granny tax. And pasties, how many eat pasties here? Hey? Come on, who's going to admit this? Come on, you all eat pasties, you know. How many? How many eat pasties? Comb or pasties? No? Yeah. Well, you see, even in that one, you've now come up with a rule. On the pasty, you pay VAT if it comes out the oven. But if it cools down a bit, you don't pay VAT. Well, that's a bloody odd thing, isn't it? And I gave 250 pasties away in Brighton last week. And of course they said, how do you know it's reached the cool temperature where you don't pay? So I stuck my finger in it. I said, no, that's wrong. So right? But still I give away 250 pasties. Look, what that represents, it's like dealing with the changes in pensions and granny and then to reduce the tax on the millionaires. I mean, God bless me, it's just unbelievable. That's out of touch whichever way you see it. And that's what that budget was. Enough about the politics. Politics is really about the community, and I love coming into these places in the community. Well, what I'm doing today, though, as I said right at the beginning, is to come and support right over from home. And I know here, did I say the one about the Daily Mirror? Daily Herald? No, I didn't. No. I've been speaking 2 or 3 times about these memories. But when I lived here, in Yorkshire, and then I went to Cheshire because my father moved around in the railway system, and then I came to Hull. I thought they would speak like that does in, you know, down here. I don't know, they don't know where they're going now. And I said, well, they sent me to order the Mirror, and they didn't understand me. To order the Herald, and they didn't understand me. Now I thought if I'm going to Hull, it'd be back to that. But they don't speak like that in all. It's posher, isn't it, as I say to it. It's nearer, it's a proper talking. Whereas you come down here, it's different. Eh?
Thee and thou.
Thee and thou. Well, thee is this one. I hope you support her. She deserves to be here. If you want a voice talking to ordinary people about what people want, and that's the majority of people in this country. This is the last for it, right? That's in council. I think she's going to go a lot further. I know she tried to get our seat. She needs to be back in that parliament. More people we get who know what people want a voice in them. This is one of those lasses, so I hope you support her. And thanks for giving us the chance to get to run about it. Okay then.